Hey guys, it's nice to see you again. It's Savannah, and today I'm talking about a new, well, it's not necessarily new, but it is a language website where you can actually find usually native language teachers to help you with your own studies. I'm kind of wanting to separate this video into a couple of parts. One, I'm going to talk about what it is, what the website is, Italki. The benefits are, pros and cons, all of that good stuff, my own experiences, and how I think, based off of my experience, how you could still use the website and the resource as a supplement for your studies. Because I still think, despite some of the negative and positive things that I have experienced with Italki, that it's still a wonderful resource if you use it the right way. So let's go ahead and get started. Italki is essentially a online forum area community where language teachers gather together, professional and just on a tutoring level, to help others around the globe study other languages. So if you go to the Italki website, you simply just have to make an account. You can pretty much select which not lesson, but language that you are going to learn, and then from there browse through the vast selection of from professional to amateur teachers that they have available for you. Some pros about Italki. One, you can create your own schedule. So it's not necessarily an online thing where you have to go in at a specific time or anything like that, because you have the power to pick which teacher you are going to use or you want to take lessons from. You pretty much pick when you have your lessons based off of their availability. Plus, it gives you a lot of freedom because you can kind of jump between teachers, and of course they have the whole option of trial lessons. So obviously you would load money onto this because these people are not doing this for free, but after you load some money onto the area, you know, let's say you want to start off with 20 bucks, you can actually go and take trial lessons from people to see if you think they are a good match for you. Easy to navigate. It allows you that freedom to pick and kind of create that schedule that you're looking for, and it doesn't necessarily trap you into a certain type of course or level. If you want to stop taking lessons, you can just go right ahead and stop taking lessons from that person and go find someone else. Awesome thing about Italki is the fact that they have a language partners area where it kind of allows you to connect to other people and you know, kind of create relationships. Of course, not everybody is going to hit you back, but it is still an opportunity nonetheless to find language partners that you can use. Language partners that you can kind of befriend and build relationships with, and of course practice your language skills with. Which kind of brings me to the cons of Italki. People are really attracted to Italki, the concept of Italki, because they're usually native speakers that are teaching this language. So for example, I am a student of Japanese, and so if I were to use Italki, I would look for a Japanese teacher, someone who is speaking Japanese at a native level since they were a baby, yada yada, to help me with my Japanese. Now, even though I understand why people gravitate towards native speakers to study with or learn from, there's a lot of things that kind of come with that aren't necessarily desirable for someone who is actually trying to master said language. For example, a native speaker may not be able to fully express or explain why something is the way it is, or a grammatical pattern or something like that, because they've just always been saying it like that, and they didn't necessarily have they don't have the experience of having to learn that and configure their thinking in order to like be able to use that grammatical pattern or use that word or what have you. Also, the thing that also comes with trying to pick native speakers over let's say people who are self-taught is that they don't necessarily have the experience of studying their own language, so they don't know or don't fully understand the possible struggles that you could be having as a student. Of course, depending on the language that you're starting off from. For example, my native language is English, so I started there. That was my base language. And then I started to study Japanese, right? So depending on that your base language or your initial language, how hard your target language is going to be is determined by how close they are in relation to each other in regards to just how the language is constructed and everything else, right? So of course, depending on the person's base language, what they find hard, what they will struggle with, what is like what to them is going to be different. And so from the teacher's perspective, they may not know what is difficult about their specific language. They don't know, may not know how to teach how to get over certain hurdles because they've never had to sit there and really wrap their head around a concept that they just kind of learned naturally. Another con about Italki is the fact that is kind of tied in with the whole friends thing that I was talking about earlier. Even though that is a pro, it's also a con because not a lot of the people online, even though they are saying that they're motivated to learn the language, may not be super motivated to learn it to the point where they're actually going to sit there and put in the effort and try to build relationships. Therefore, you might spend a lot of time contacting people that never really show any consistency back, and then you might get discouraged. So yeah, I guess you can say that's a con about Italki. I've tried it with a Spanish teacher and a Japanese teacher, which I still currently keep in contact with and take lessons from. It's coming from someone who's literally spent over 10 years of like self-study for Japanese. I will say that it was really kind of fun being with people who and talking to people in both languages in my target language, and then like because I am paying them to correct me, that they will correct me because with Italki, of course, right, you are paying them, and so even if you are an advanced student or something like that, they are going to correct you. They are going to make sure that they at least kind of catch all of your slips as much as you can, especially if you're focusing on conversation practice. The thing with language partners, right, why this is another thing that makes Italki worth it, is that they may not correct you because they're just used to how you talk, and so sometimes you literally have to pay someone to get that. And so Italki has been great for me in that regard. Also, I made a new friend on Italki using the language partner thing that may or may not work. It took me a really long time. It's not my first time on trying Italki. However, this specific time, I just so happened to make a really awesome Japanese friend. And so we've been kind of talking on and off on Skype all the time. And so I think it's really awesome. And I really hope that we can continue our awesome relationship. And I'm happy. He is definitely one of the reasons why I'm happy to have gone to Italki again. My recommendations when using Italki, of course, is to not rely on it completely. So again, like I said before, I'm coming to Italki with my own questions, my own ideas, my own things that I need to work on, and I know those things due to my own self-study. So of course, don't just use Italki, but make sure that you're getting plenty of like input. You're listening to plenty of other resources from many different walks of life. So I'm talking like radio, YouTube, television series, books, all types of input, and then go to the Italki lesson with questions, with things that you specifically want to work on, so you can really make it worth your time, and you're not just sitting there ruminating on concepts that you may have already learned and that you don't really need to practice. Teachers that I actually will recommend to y'all. There's this lady called Mana on Mana. She is I think she's a very nice woman, and so if you're trying to learn Japanese, she has like these really awesome short lessons for like $5 on Italki. So if you are interested, you can go ahead and check her out. And then also for Spanish, I'm using this lady called Oyuki. She actually lives in Mexico City. She's super awesome, super fun, super amazing to talk to, has such a wonderful, bright personality, loves to travel just like me, and I've noticed already a profound difference in my Spanish speaking abilities due to being with her and talking to her on a weekly basis. So I definitely recommend that you check her out if you're looking into the Spanish Latin America side of things. And yeah, that concludes today's video. So I hope that this was some helpful to you guys, and if you have any questions about my experience or how you can further your use of Italki to be even more effective in your language studies, please feel free to leave a comment and I'll try to get back to y'all as much as I can. So thanks again for watching my video. 最後まで見てくれて本当にありがとうございました。サバナでした。登録もお願いします。またね。